458. I think this is the sharing session where I have the most participants ever since the beginning of MCO. Hope you guys are coping well during this difficult time, and hopefully you guys won't fall asleep during my sharing session. Okay, so my name is Jolene. Thank you so much to UPM Zoological Society for having us. So I'm representing a working group, a small conservation working group in Penang, yeah, which is known as the Langur Project Penang. Maybe some of you have heard of us before, maybe some of you know. So today I'm gonna talk a little bit about my journey as a wildlife researcher, how I started from a student, then to establish my own conservation group, and also share to you guys some interesting fact regarding Dusky Langurs. All right, so now I'm gonna start sharing my screen. All right, moderator, can you see my screen? All good? Can you see my screen? Once you see my screen, please give me a heads up. All right, okay. Okay, everyone. So now I'm gonna play you a short video which highlight a little bit about what you're gonna learn today so that you guys have a little bit of expectation regarding the modules in my presentation. Okay, all right. Due to the fact that I'm located in Bukit Mertajam, Penang, and it's blocked by a hill, so the internet connection here is not that well. So now I'm gonna switch to the less optimized version of the slides so that we can keep this presentation ongoing. Yeah. Okay, just give me a few seconds. Okay, moderator, can you let me know if you can see my slides again? Hello? Can Okay, can see my slides, yeah? All right, okay. So everyone, today I'm going to talk to you guys regarding a story regarding my journey with Dusky Langurs. So as you can see over here on the screen, this is a graphic work. All right, just wait for a while. Someone wants to share content. Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, so this is a graphic book by one of our volunteers in Langur. So basically on the bottom left, right, this was actually me when I was still having like very short hair. And as time goes by, now I'm having long hair already. So later on, I'm going to share with you guys thing regarding my journey in wildlife conservation. Then I'm going to go to some interesting fact regarding Dusky Langurs. Okay, so may I know how many of you guys actually seen Dusky Langurs before? Okay, all right, I'm just gonna off this because I don't need it. All right, may I know how many of you guys actually seen this species of monkey before? Ah, wow, looks like you guys actually seen them before, yeah? All right, okay. So a little bit more introduction regarding myself. I'm currently a PhD student in University Science Malaysia. So I'm still not done with my PhD yet. So my PhD is on this specific species of primates in Malaysia. And I'm also very thankful as I'm very passionate in environmental education. So I got the chance to utilize my environmental education skill through this platform of LangurProjectPenang. All right. Okay, so before I start going into Dusky Langurs and the interesting fact regarding this species, I would like you guys to think about the word science. What is science means to you? Can you guys write down some definitions of science in the chat box? Try not to Google it, even though here there's a like a correct the definition of science, which is the intellectual and practical activity, blah, 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 blah. But to you guys, science is what? What is science? I can see some people wrote science is life, science is us, science is everywhere. Science is a complicated branch of study. Yeah, you guys are right. So when I was in Form 5, right, I was in science screen. I'm sure that you guys were in science screen as well. So I'm always thinking like, is science equals to complicated things such as biotechnology, chemistry, etc. So when I started venturing into my undergrad study, then I realized that science was indeed very, very complicated. I always feel like, oh, okay, science, if you want to be a scientist, you must be a mad scientist, just like this photo over here. Experiment with different chemicals, and you need to have like a high GPA, full GPA for your studies, etc. And I wasn't a very excellent student as well. I was very active in core curriculum, but I'm not a straight A student. So after I get done with my undergrad, you guys will get done it soon. Be patient. Yeah, so I got very lucky because since young, I'm very passionate about nature. My father always bring me for hiking trip, etc. My mom also allowed me to go camping and join cadet police, etc. So I've been exposed to nature since young. So during undergrad study, I was focusing on pure biological science, which a lot on cell biology and biotechnology. But then I realized that that's not my thing. I really like wildlife and nature. So after I get done with my undergraduate degree in biological science, I came back and I got the job, my first career in a cave. Wow. How many of you guys actually been to a cave before? When you talk about cave, you'll be thinking like, oh, cave is very scary, or even cave is very dark, right? Yeah, so I got very lucky because I was hired as a scientific officer in Dark Cave Conservation Site located in Batu Cave. I'm sure you guys know Batu Cave as a temple cave, but there's actually a conservation cave just underneath the temple cave itself. But unfortunately, now it's temporarily closed. Hopefully, it's temporarily closed. It's going to reopen again. So I was the scientific officer there, which I was in charge in the monitoring session, which I monitor the cave microclimate, and also we engage with the scientists in the fauna research in the cave as well, such as the troglobites. Like, for example, the animals that adapted in the dark, like a cave racer, the snake that you can see on the top right over here, and also spiny millipede, etc. All right. Okay. So that was my first career in conservation. And it really, really attracted me. In fact, that I realized that I can be so passionate in conservation fieldwork that I'm able to endure all kinds of pain, such as insects bites, or even you can't go to toilet multiple times per day because you're on top of the Batu cave, so you can only go to the toilet once per day because you need to go through the 200 and over steps. You guys can imagine that. Yeah. But then after a year working in the cave, because my mom, she's a cancer survivor, so when she started to feel ill, I had to come back to Penang as well. Yeah. But before I came back to Penang, I actually applied for a volunteer job in Sabah. Yeah. So I applied a volunteer job in Sabah with the Danau Girang Field Center. It brought me into such wonderful places in Sabah. For example, over here, you can see the Danum Valley. Yeah, so it's so fantastic that I got the chance to take part in a different research project by the researchers over there as well. And that was the time that I got the chance to experience birding and also experience night walks. At the same time, also make friends with the forestry department guys, which they opened my eyes to the surrounding, which told me that the nature is more than just what we learn in books or even our surrounding only, but it's beyond our surrounding, beyond our mind. So after I've done with my volunteering job over there, I came back to Penang to take care of my mom. At the same time, I also got a job as an environmentalist in Tropical Spice Garden, Telok Bahang. You can look it up. So I mentioned in the beginning that I'm trained as an environmental educator, right? Yeah, so this is where I got trained as an educator. So I like to speak with children. I like to speak with adults. So when I was employed as an environmental educator in Tropical Spice Garden, I was responsible to organize campaigns or even workshops for the public, including kids and adults. That was the time that I realized that engagement is so important, science communication, which there are not many people understand that there's a huge gap between scientific research and the community, which we need to fill up the void. Who to do that? Environmental educator. So I was trained as an educator in Tropical Spice Garden, which enhanced my skill time for me to quit my full-time job and start looking at a postgraduate degree, which is something that maybe you experience and think about after you're done with your undergrad study. All right, yeah. So these two pictures are my favorite when I was working as an educator in Tropical Spice Garden. All right, so basically, in a nutshell, is what I try to convey is science is all around us. Maybe sometimes when we study a major or even a course in university, it's not something that we expected, it's not something that we like. But we must always remember that science learning is not just through books or even through videos, but through us asking why and how, the curiosity in us, the kids in us, embark the questions which we need to find out the answer in order to fulfill our curiosity. To me, science is all around us. Science equals to life. So some of you guys, very, very deep thinker, yeah? Okay, so back in 2015, when I decided to quit my job in Tropical Spice Garden, I got the chance to meet Dr. Nadine Rupert. If you follow my cursor over here, you can see Dr. Nadine from University Science Malaysia. She's on the top right. So I spoke to her that I really wanted to do a postgraduate degree. That time I was looking at the master because, you know, once you start working a daily job from 9 to 5, then you realize that there's many things that are being restricted. You can't really improve yourself as an individual, especially you are always asking the question why and how on a daily basis. So I spoke with her and I was very, very interested in all kinds of animals, including primates and reptiles. So that time I was thinking whether I'm going to go for primates or I'm going to go for reptiles. But then coming and she told me that, wow, in Malaysia, there are so many species of primates, especially monkeys, they're understudied, talking about Peninsula Malaysia. So I told her that, yeah, maybe I can just try to do literature review and see what kind of primates that we need to focus on, especially when my mom needs help in Penang, I need to stay in Penang. Hence, this narrowed down my research field into primates in Penang. So this is how I got to know about the Dusky Langurs on the bottom right over here. Yeah, and I decided to do some research regarding them, then realized that this species is indeed under study. Okay, so some background information. Malaysia is a home to 26 species of primates. Yeah, maybe some of you got to learn from other previous lectures that 25 species, because this year there's another species of the banded langur, being identified, which is the Robinsoni banded langur. So that's the 26 species of primates we have in Malaysia. So Malaysia is actually the second country after Indonesia in Southeast Asia that have the most species of primates. But many people don't know about monkey species in Malaysia. People always think that, oh, okay, what are the monkeys that you can see? The long-tailed macaques, the ones that always go into your hostel to grab your food. Anyone can relate, or maybe share your story in the chat box. Or even the langurs. Moderator, is the voice okay?
Mute.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to continue now, Yeah, so basically Malaysia is so diverse in terms of primates diversity, and I hope that everyone, you guys, will start focusing a little bit more towards primates from now on. Okay. Next slides. Okay. All right. So what are primates? Many people will say primates are monkeys, or even primates are orangutan. Yes, you're right. Primates is actually a group of animals, which we call them the apes, the monkeys, or even the pre-monkeys, or we call them the prosimians, like the lemurs, etc., as well as humans. Never forget that humans are also primates. So we are all related cousins. Yeah, but different lineages, etc. So we are primates, primates are us. This is something is very important because there are many people always see like humans are like a superior being, but we have non-human primates as well, such as all these different species of non-human primates that you can see on the screen. All right, so today I'm gonna, or someone is requesting for, the innovation again. Yeah, I'm gonna decline it. Yes. Okay. So right now I'm gonna focus on the Dusky Langurs. Okay, this photo is very special to me. So can everyone just try to write in the chat box, yeah? Can you guess this individual over here is a mother or a father? Take a guess. Take a guess, is a mother or a father? Many people would see that, okay, maybe it's a sister, or maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's an aunt, etc. Actually, it's a father. Yeah. Many people always feel like when you look at monkeys, right? Normally you can see the mother carrying the baby, but in Dusky Langurs, right? Dusky Langurs, the father played important role in the babysitting as well. Yeah. So this is something so special about this species that caught my heart, which made me feel like they're so similar to us, and we also very similar to them in many, many ways, which I'm going to explain to you right now. All right. Okay. This for a while. Okay. So the Dusky Langurs, the scientific name is the Trichipithecus obscurus. You guys don't have to remember that. Once you Google, you can find the scientific name. So they used to be near threatened, but this year, June 10, they are officially known as endangered species. Yeah, why endangered? Because first of all, these monkeys, they're arboreal. Arboreal means live in trees. So they live in a forest or even recreational forest, gardens, and even residential area which has trees. But unfortunately, everyone knows that deforestation and fragmentation happens, which this drive down the population of this species, which now they are officially the endangered species. If you look at the IUCN map over here, right, you can see that the distribution of this species is actually the Myanmar, Thailand, and Peninsular Malaysia, including small islands. Yeah, so they are not only can be found in Penang or even in the whole Peninsular Malaysia, but you can find them in Thailand and Myanmar at the same time. Yeah, but however, their distribution also is quite small. Unlike the long-tailed macaques or even the silver-leaf langurs, they are more widely distributed. All right, so now I'm going to highlight a few keywords for you guys to remember this species, because I don't want to make this talk very scientific, or not all of you guys going to sleep. Yeah, if you have more scientific questions or even some more technical ones, you can ask in the chat box, which I'm going to answer later. Now I'm just going to go through a story with you guys. Some keywords to highlight the facts of this species. The first keyword is actually arboreal. So arboreal means live in trees. As you can see over here, the langurs, they depend on trees to survive. So basically, they feed on the parts of the trees, and also they sleep on trees as well. Yeah, so many people always ask me, like, do they build nests to sleep? The answer is no. They are not like orangutan or even sun bear, which they build nests to sleep. For Dusky Langurs, they are more like a yogi. Yeah, so when they find a branch that they like, they will just like lay down comfortably. And one thing very interesting is when they're taking naps, right? Naps means during the daytime, evening, or even noon, they would most of the time lay down just like humans, but lay down through the different position. But during overnight time, means from night until the next morning, they would rather sit and sleep. Yeah, anyone knows why? Why do they choose to sit and sleep overnight? Any ideas? Yeah, any friends out there who have any ideas in this kind of behavior? The answer is actually due to the fact that during overnight time there's a higher risk. There's a higher risk for the predator. Yeah, the predator to harm their young ones or even to harm their juveniles. Yeah. So by sitting and sleep at night, it's easier for them to be awake if there's any like a predation happen or even any emergency happen. Yeah, so they can just leap from tree to tree easily. All right. Okay. And second keyword would be groups. All right. Okay. Groups. They are social animals. They are social animals means that they live in a family structure. You may think like, okay, just like the gorilla, the macaques. Macaques can have like so many monkeys and so many children and so many adults. But for Dusky Langurs, they live in a rather smaller groups compared to the macaques. Like macaques, sometimes you can find 30 to 50 individuals, right? But for the Dusky Langurs, they are normally just like maximum like 20 to 21 individual. Even it's quite rare to find a group of Dusky Langurs up to 20 individuals, yeah? And average would be 8 to 16 individuals, yeah? Smaller groups would be 6 to 8 individuals. Largest group would be like 16 to 17 individuals, yeah? Now you guys might start to feel curious about the baby already, yeah? Why the baby is orange in color? Anyone have any idea? You can write in the chat group why the baby is orange in color. Is it because of their genetics, or is it because they are like for different purposes? Is it because for camouflaging, etc.? Anyone knows why? Yeah, they got lost. Easy to be seen when they are lost. That's actually a very good point. Like for the Trichipithecus genus, right? Remember the scientific name is Trichipithecus obscurus, right? Yeah, so for the Trichipithecus genus, this genus, their babies are orange in color. All right, okay, yeah. And so the orange color is kind of like the indicator for the group members that I'm the precious one, I'm the important one. So it's easier for the individuals to carry out allo mothering activities. Yeah, and the babysitting behavior is not only taken off by the mothers or even the fathers, even the siblings, the brothers or even the aunties, the slightly non-related ones, they also help the mother to take care of the babies as well. Yeah, and the second reason why the babies are orange in color, which is rather interesting, is when you guys are in the forest, when you look up, when you see a group of Dusky Langurs, sometimes you can't really see the baby, even though the baby is like so striking in color. First of all, it's due to the backlight, right? And second, if you try to look up from the canopy point of view, yeah, there are lots of young leaves and young flowers of the rainforest canopy. They are more like bright in color. Like for example, like more reddish in color or even yellowish in color. So all these color actually camouflage very well with the color of the Dusky Langur infant at the same time. So it helps them to camouflage themselves in the canopy from the bird of prey. Yeah, so this is a very interesting observation that you can see the mom always take care of the baby from the predator, and also the color is an indicator for other individuals that, okay, I'm very important, I need to be well taken care of. All right. Okay, and the third keyword would be folivorous. Okay, I'm sure that you guys
Kak Na
know
beli kat pasar malam.
All right, okay. So this species, they are leaf-eating monkeys. So basically the word langur, right? You guys know the word langur? Langur, some people would say that it means long-tailed monkeys. It's true as well. Yeah, langurs means long-tailed monkeys, but also means leaf-eating monkeys at the same time. So basically columbine, yeah? So for the leaf-eating monkeys, their diet is consists of more than half of a leaf's diet. All right, but it doesn't mean that they only feed on leaves, and they are not like chinchay, what kind of leaves also eat one. Yeah, they are very specific on certain species of food plant for their diet itself. It doesn't mean that once you pluck the roadside leaf, you give it to them, they will eat. No, they eat depending on the phenology of the plants, whether is it shooting during that time, specific species in certain habitat, etc. Yeah, but they also feed on flowers and fruits. They feed on quite a number of flowers and fruits as well. Like for fruits, based on our research, they feed up to 20% of fruits per year. Yeah, which is quite a large number of fruits. Okay, I have no idea what's wrong with Webex, but always I need to click on the slide before I can go next. All right, hence, this makes the langur a very, very good seed disperser agent. Even though there's no research done on Dusky Langur Trichipithecus obscurus as a seed disperser agent yet, which we hope that soon be able to support the student to conduct this research. But based on our field research, we have collected the Langur's pool, which contain the seeds of certain food plants, and then we move the pool and we deposit it in a certain area, which we mark it off, we transact it, and then after a few weeks, you can actually see the seedlings coming out from the pool. Yeah, so this gives us an idea that Dusky Langurs, they can be very good seed dispersers as well, just that we need more evidence, scientific evidence, which is through research, to further emphasize the importance of this species in our country. So on this slide, you're able to see some species of food plants, which you can also find in your backyard or even in your nearby community gardens. All right, so if anyone can tell some of these species, you can just write down in the chat group. Yeah, so if you're observant enough, you can find. Yeah, Shafiq, very, very good. Jering, you can see Jering over here, yeah? Jering, they are Langur's favorite. They love Jering. So normally when Jering fruits, right, you know the smell, just like petai, right? So the Langurs, they will spend like hours just on this single Jering fruit. All right, how about this one, the bottom right? Bottom right is also a very common plant, urban plant that you can find, maybe just across your house. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, because here in Penang or even in KL, yeah, you can find quite a lot of this species of tree as well. It's known as the cempedak. Cempedak, Shaki said cempedak. Almost there, but it's not cempedak. It's actually the terap nasi, the Atocapus elaticus, yeah? Yeah, so the Atocapus species, yeah, they are favorite food plants genus, yeah, for the Dusky Langurs, often feed on the fruits, and also they help to carry the seeds and then throw it elsewhere in order to disperse as well. Yeah, like this one over here at the center bottom, these are figs, ficus, and above All right, here, these are the santoi. Yeah, santoi, I'm sure you guys, maybe some of you guys know because it's edible by humans. But for dusky langurs, they often eat those immature ones. Yeah, immature ones. And the macaques, they will feed on the mature ones. And how about the left-hand side one? This one over here. Yeah, this is actually the Caesium, or you call them the Caesium grande, the sea apple. Yeah, whether you guys heard it before, the Jambu Ayer Laut. Yeah, so you can find lots of Jambu Ayer Laut along the coastal area forest, you know, the coastal forest. So the langurs normally they will feed on the Jambu Ayer Laut, and then after that they will either pull it out, the seeds, or even they will just take a few bites and then throw the seeds somewhere else after they move for a while. So we're very excited to embark this new journey to support a student to actually look into the seed dispersal activities of the dusky langurs. So if you guys have any friends who are looking for postgraduate opportunity, etc., feel free to contact us because we are really excited to start this new research in order to emphasize the importance of dusky langurs. All right, let me go to the next slides. I need to click on here again. Okay, so this is a graphic to show you guys.
So this is a graphic to show you guys general how monkeys
Disperse seeds in the forest. Okay, so here you have the monkeys feeding on seeds, right? And then once they feed, they won't poo or pee right away. Yeah, based on observation, it takes around maybe 2 to 2.5 hours. Yeah, so they will use this time to move or even activities or even auto grooming and play, etc. And then once they poo, yeah, they're able to regenerate the forest once again. Hence, in there are many secondary forests, right? Like take our study site in Penang example. Once you go into a secondary forest in Penang, you'll find lots of very small plants around. Yeah, that receive just sufficient enough amount of sunlight to grow. Yeah, so those seedlings mostly consist of similar food plants that we frequently people trying to speak during this session. Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, let me go to the next slides. Okay, so the next keyword would be a natural heritage. Okay, so when you talk about heritage, people would think of artifacts or even think of buildings like the building in Georgetown, etc. But we never forget that like our fauna, our native wildlife, even our urban wildlife as well, they are also very important nature heritage in Malaysia, in our country. Without them, yeah, we may be losing some sort of identity. Like for example, if you manage to highlight certain species as the umbrella species of certain parks or even certain protected area, so that species is a heritage of its own in order to drive in the economy, like for example, tourism and also conservation effort at the same time. So this is something that everyone need to be aware of. Okay, this is a very interesting photo. How many of you guys actually seen a dusky langur and a long-tailed macaque grooming each other before? Anyone seen this before? Maybe no, right? Never seen that. Yeah, because this is a very rare sight. Like when we start our research, right? It doesn't mean that once we go into the forest, we can see the langurs. This is a impossible thing. So how we started our research is, like for example, I want to start a research in Penang Hill. All right, take this site as example. Like first of all, I need to survey the Penang Hills track, the trail. So what I do is I will do transact with my team. So we do transact and then we will agak-agak lah, and then we will try to count the groups along the transact line. And then like for example, Penang Hill, we used to count like 14 to 16 groups. And then from this 14 to 16 group, right, which group are more feasible for us to follow? Feasible to follow means that it's easier for us to find them in the morning and it's not so troublesome because you don't want to wake up like 3 a.m. in the morning to hike to a sleeping tree of the dusky langur and start following them at 7 o'clock, right? Because it's going to take such a long time. Feasible means like, for example, if I arrive at Penang Hill at 6 o'clock, I'm able to find them around 6:45. Then I start following them once the sun rises. Yeah, so this is feasible. So from there, we're able to follow the langurs day by day, hour per hour. So initially, maybe once they see me, they will go scared and then they will just leap away. Yeah, but after I follow them for months, then they will start see me as, this manusia just follow me for fun only lah. They're not gonna like kill me or anything. So once they get used to my existence, then I'm able to follow them without disturbing their behavior. Yeah, so this is very important. This is called the habituation. All right, habituation through the ethical and the correct way. It's not habituation through feeding them or even keeping them as pets. This is a wrong thing to do. So through habituation in the correct way, we're able to gain their trust in their natural habitat and we're able to look into their life And after almost a year of following this particular group of Dusky Langurs in Trotukun, then we started to notice that, oh, the macaques over there actually friend with the Dusky Langurs, which we can't really see this behavior in all study sites. Yeah, so this we call them the interspecies grooming, yeah? Yeah, which is really important for us to highlight, yeah, which is a lesson for human being as well. Coexistence is so important. Yeah, if the wildlife can do it, why not we human do it at the same time? All right. So when we're in the forest, it doesn't mean that we can see only the langurs or even the monkeys, but we see multiple different species of wildlife in the forest. Like on the left over here, you have the long-tailed macaques, and then here we have the black giant squirrel, Ratufa bicolor, and you have the racketeal drongo. Can't really see the head over here due to the slides. Yeah, racketeal drongo. So basically, they have these two tails coming off, just like two rackets over there, and we call them the gangster of the forest. Anyone knows why? The racketeer drongo, they're actually the gangster of the forest. Because first, they're very territorial, and also they follow mammals. Yeah, they actually follow the squirrels and the monkeys to feed. To feed on what? To feed on insects. So you try to imagine when the langurs or the macaques or the squirrel, they're moving in the trees, right? When they're moving in the trees and then they disturb the leaves and then the insects fall off, then the drongo will go capture the insects. Yeah, so this is kind of like a very, very interesting sympatric, yeah, sympatric relationship going on, yeah, which is also understudied. And if any one of you are interested to venturing into this sympatric species interaction, please go ahead, because we need so many of this behavior study to emphasize the importance of the communication between wildlife in their habitat, and which we use this as story for science communication. And this is how we gain the empathy and also the understanding from the public. All right. And Sunda slow lories on the bottom left over here, nocturnal primates. And also you have this one over here, the colugo. Yeah, quite common to see colugo in our study sites, especially this one over here with a small pup. And also the plantain squirrel, the common squirrel, which you can find basically everywhere with trees, I think. Yeah. Very cute, right? Now to those still very cute ones. Remember I mentioned before I was very interested in research of reptiles as well. So if I'm not a primate researcher, then I'm probably going to be a reptile researcher. Yeah. So these are all photos taken by us in the field. Yeah, it's not photos from Google or whatever. Yeah, so this python, right? This story is very interesting. So during that time, there was the filming crew following us in the forest. And so we were walking and walking. And all of a sudden, the Dusky Langer juvenile, yeah, the small Dusky Langurs call at me. So do you guys know how Dusky Langer call? Just now, those who arrived early and watched the first video that I played just now, you can hear a little bit of the call. Yeah, but that is honking, the honking of the male langer. Those who missed it, just go to our Facebook page and search some videos. You're able to hear the honking call. But for juveniles, the small Dusky Langurs, when they spot snakes, they will do the alarm call. So their alarm call sounds like this. It's more like tick, 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 very high-pitched tick. Yeah, so the juvenile Dusky Langer, yeah, she was doing this call to me and I wasn't aware. As I stepping step by step towards a particular direction, all of a sudden she came down to eye level, but not really that close. It's like 3 meters from me, still a safe distance. And all of a sudden, he clicked to me and look down to the ground, click to me, look down to the ground, repeated for a few times. And after that, when I look on my left, just 2 feet apart, I saw this large python and I nearly stepped on it. Yes. So many people have been asking us like, how do we able to get pictures of snakes, vipers, and pythons so easily in the forest? Actually, no. Most of the time would be the langurs inform us. Once they realize that, wow, it's a threat, yeah, we need to defend our family, etc. So this is how they're going to warn us as a human observer. So every time this happened to me multiple times, I always feel very touched, you know, like I'm a human being, and Dusky Langurs, they are non-human primates. We don't speak the same language, but even though I don't touch them, even though I don't feed them, even though I don't friend with them, but they see me as part of the forest as well. So this is something that really, really touched my heart, and I really hope that everyone remember that if you love something, it doesn't mean that you need to own that something. It means that you need to set them free and let them be wild in their surrounding. All right. Okay, monitor lizard, and you have the tree shoes, and also a Wenger spit viper. All these are the friends of the Dusky Langurs, like we always say. Okay, all right. So the cute part is gone. Now I'm gonna go to the sad part. So by looking at this photo, right, this taken in Tanjung Bunga. I'm sure some of you been to Tanjung Bunga before on the Penang Island, but this also happened like around the world. Many people see deforestation as lack of trees, that's all. But actually no. Like in Penang, right, it's so convenient for Penangites to travel. Like we utilize 10 minutes of our time, or sometimes less than 10 minutes. We can go to the nearest beaches. We can even go to the nearest hills. So that's why we always say that Penang is surrounded by the hills and the sea. However, many people don't know, like for example, the developer or even the policymakers, etc. They have no idea that all these hills are actually very alive. There are many wildlife living in there. So when development, urbanization happens, it kind of divides all this habitat into small patches. Hence, we call this as the habitat fragmentation. Habitat fragmentation indeed is a very, very important thing that conservationists nowadays need to pay attention of. I'm sure you guys hear about animal and human conflicts, humans and elephant conflicts, human and monkey conflicts, human and tiger conflict. All this is due to the encroachment into the habitat of this wildlife. This is why we have all these negative interfaces between human and wild animals. Yeah, like this photo is taken by a drone. Is actually the Teluk Bahang Road, the coastal road. So for our study site, right, the Langurs actually live in the hills and they do cross the road to the beach as well. So how do they cross the road based on this kind of scenario? Okay, let me show you. Okay, before that, this is just a photo which highlight the impact of habitat loss and fragmentation. Okay, so for the Dusky Langurs, when they're trying to cross from one patch of fragmented habitat to the other, they will always look for tree connectivity. So when there's tree connectivity, it's easier for them to leap from one side to the other side. Yeah, if they are agile enough, if they are mature in terms of locomotion, then they're able to make it to the other side. However, in certain places, most of the trees being cut down. Yeah, and they replace it with those ornamental plants. You guys know what I mean, huh? Yeah, those ornamental plants are just not strong enough for the Dusky Langurs or even different types of monkeys or even squirrels to cross. So sometimes you need to depend on cable wire. And the urban wildlife, the wildlife residents in our country has been adapted to the cable wire movement because they already get so used to it. So sometimes people ask me, right, Jolene, why are there trees they don't want to cross? Why they choose to cross along a cable wire? This is due to the fact that these young Dusky Langurs or even young macaques or young monkeys, they're learning from their seniors, they're learning from their parents and siblings. Yeah. So this is the strategy. Yep. Okay, Joey, you're right. This is a strategy for them to survive in the urban habitats. In order to live for longer life, they need to adapt in the urban habitat man-made structure, including cable wire. All right. When there's no cable wire, when there's no tree connectivity, sometimes when there's cable wire, also there's tree connectivity, they will still choose to run across the road. Yeah, you may be wondering why they still run across the road when there's trees around. Sometimes the tree are just not connecting enough. Sometimes the cable wire is just not strong enough. And for this individual, this is actually, yeah, this was a male, an alpha male. Alpha male is larger and also bigger at the same time, heavier at the same time, yeah? So for the alpha male or even larger individual or even pregnant individual, they just can't go through the previous two methods or strategies to cross. So they have to run across the road. If they make it, then it's good. If they can't make it, then something bad may happen. For example, roadkill. All right? Okay. And now I'm sure that all you guys are familiar with urban wildlife, like urban langurs, especially after the since the beginning of MCO, we have been receiving many calls from the citizen in Malaysia, including Penang, KL, or even Kedah, etc. They've been contacting us, told us that they can see Dusky Langurs moving along a cable wire or even on the neighborhood rooftop during MCO when there's no people around. So this is a very interesting observation, which is now we are collaborating with Dr. Cedric Tan from Oxford Brook University in order to look at the occurrence of urban wildlife during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, and post-pandemic, so that we can compare whether is it less human occurrence actually affecting the movement of urban wildlife. So this picture was taken in Aitam, Falim, in Penang. So this citizen took this photo, which is very, very nice for Merdeka advertisement. Okay, so urban langurs started to appear there since MCO. Before that, that guy never seen urban langurs over there before. Yeah, he only started to see it since the beginning of MCO. Until today, the Langurs already adapted to a certain new route, so they will keep going towards the same route. All right. So when monkeys or even wildlife in general start getting urbanized, yeah, so sometimes people wanted to do kind things, like you guys also know that some people are releasing fishes, invasive species into the river. Like people see this as a very a kind movement or whatever. Yeah, like for this photo, right, it's actually a screenshot from a video in Tokun. This is Tokun Recreational Forest, one of our study site in mainland Bukit Matajam. Yeah, so these two lady, they were very, very kind to told me that they wanted to help these monkeys because they were savaging in the trash can. But they have no idea that it's the behavior of human that caused them to like savage in the trash can. So when she was trying to feed the macaques food, right, and then we stopped her, and then we told her the reason why she shouldn't feed monkey. And most people, they don't know why they shouldn't feed monkey. So like for researchers, right, or even zoologists like you guys, right, future zoologists or even a young zoologist, sometimes when you see people feed monkeys, you may feel like very, very angry. You want to go there and then you want to scold them. But to be honest, throughout these few years of speaking with hikers or even citizens, we realized that most of the public citizen, right, they have no idea. They don't know about the impact of feeding monkeys, seriously. So it's very important for us to think from their perspective and try to story them, talk to them regarding what's the reason behind it instead of just scolding them. All right, okay. So some people will just, contribute human food to wild animals, especially the long-tailed macaques. Yeah, so what are the reasons why we shouldn't feed monkeys? So hopefully this could give you guys some general idea in helping you guys to develop your own stories in order to talk to your friends and families nearby regarding this issue, yeah? We're soon going to come out with a more interesting infographic so stay tuned on that. So the first reason will be pollution. Try to imagine that, yeah? Go back to the slide again. Yeah, so when people throwing food, right, there's also food packaging. So all these food packaging are actually rubbish, trash. So when you're hiking in the forest, sometimes you see like the plastic containers, right? And you will immediately think of human. And then when you thought of human, and then you'll be cursing like certain human being out there already. But sometimes it's not due to humans, Sometimes it's due to humans that feeding the monkeys, and the monkeys bring the container or even the plastic packaging into the forest trail. This is how pollution happens. And second, conflict. So when monkeys, they start to being fed and they start to get used to human food, they become lazy, lose their foraging instinct, lazy to look for food in the wild, and they will start to depend on human for food. Like Uncle Tan, he would feed the macaques like a Monday to Friday every 1 o'clock. If one day Uncle Tan skipped one session to feed the macaques will start being very impatient because of the sugar rush, the addiction to the sugar, and the monkey will start attacking other bypasser who refuse to feed him food. Yeah, so aggression happens. And third, disease transmission. Never forget that human beings and primates, we are actually very, very similar in many, many terms. All right. Yeah. So zoonosis, disease happens, transmission happens, especially when we have close contact with wild animals, especially monkeys. All right. Yeah. During this COVID-19 pandemic period, there are many researchers who came out with research, and there are quite a few research that backing up the facts that, right, there are lots of monkey species, especially the monkey species in Southeast Asia, all right, and most species of primates in Malaysia are quite vulnerable to COVID-19. Yeah, so for us as a human, it's not only just we taking care of humans, but also we taking care of these animals as well. In order to stop the spreading of the virus, we need to always keep a safe distance. Starting by no feeding monkey is a very good start to actually to embark on. All right. Okay. Road accident. So when the monkeys, they use the human food, they will start to go to, drainage or even come out from the forest, stay by the road, because sometimes by the road, there are more trash or even there are some different food resources that like being thrown out from the car, etc. So the animals would then spend a lot of time by the road, which this increase the risk of roadkill. And the last one would be illegal wildlife pet trade. When the monkeys are so habituated to humans, it's easier for the humans to get hold of the monkeys. And right now, many people always think that for poachers to catch monkey, they still have to hike into the deep forest to catch monkey. Actually, it's not the case anymore. In many cases, that poachers can just easily capture monkeys in monkey feeding parks, like in Kuala Selangor, where the silver leaf monkeys are being fed, or even the monkeys that utilize the cable wire, or even the monkeys that roam around the recreational gardens. So all these areas are already opportunities for the poachers, yeah, to catch all these baby monkeys or even baby wildlife to be sold on social media and to enhance the illegal wildlife pet trade. All right, so these are some of the photos to prove that why you shouldn't feed monkeys. Like this case on the top left, yeah, this is a pigtail macaque, it's not a long-tail macaque. So this happened, I think, a few years ago. So basically, this pigtail macaque already used to human feeding. And then one day, a group of young boys, they brought and they put firecracker into the junk food packaging, and then they pass it to this pigtail macaque. So the pigtail macaque just put his hand into the packaging, and then all of a sudden it's just exploded. Yeah, so this is how this accident happened. It was published on the news, yeah, national news, which kind of like the eye-opening eye-opening for many people out there. But however, this kind of message need to be spread on daily basis. It's not just once in a while you got the news like Malaysian baby killed by macaques, just once in a while, and then people will just forget it after a few days. Yeah, so this kind of awareness message needs to be done from mouth to mouth. So it depends on you guys. Like today, there's so many of you guys listening to sharing. I really hope that you guys could learn something and start spreading the message and do good for the wildlife and for human at the same time. All right, so this top right, the bottom left, right? Okay, this obese monkey, right? He's actually quite a famous individual in Thailand, But good news is this macaque, he's currently safe. He's safe in the conservation center. So basically, he was living in a temple in Thailand and people worship him, People worship him by giving him offering, foods, bananas, corns, etc. and see him as like the living god or something. And until the fact that this macaque unable to move, dragging himself on the ground. Very sad to look at. So a group of wildlife conservationists decided to step in and then took him off and then put him in a rehab center to rehabilitate this fella. He has a name, but I forgot the name. But I'm sure if you Google it up, you can find his name. And now he's getting better and start to get used to the natural surrounding. And hopefully one day he can be released into the wild again. All right, and also bottom right, these are the bite marks, yeah, from macaques. So all these things could happen, not only humans getting harmed, but also macaques getting harmed. So even though all these are more commonly seen in macaques, right, human macaques conflict, but never forget this also can be seen in langurs or even different species of primates, and even squirrels, even monitor lizard, etc., etc. You name it, yeah, all these conflicts could happen. All right, okay. So now I'm going to talk about the final threat, also one of the most important threat to the dusky langur. Just now I highlighted two important threats. Yeah, first would be the habitat fragmentation, which cause dangerous road crossing, which may happen. Yeah, for example, roadkill. And second is the feeding monkey threat. And now third is the orange baby. Yeah, why orange baby is a threat? Because they are so cute, right? Yeah, it's a threat to their own kind because they are so cute. Many people always tell me that you're studying such a cute species, you must be getting a lot of support. Actually, yeah, if you say that, it's like partially true, but if you talk about the biodiversity in Malaysia, it's still underfunded. And when you talk about understanding from the public to our local biodiversity, it's still very low. So people always see them as cute creatures, that's all. All right. But they also play very important in dispersal, like I told you guys, in maintaining the food chain and also important natural heritage. Like the babies, they are so cute and people actually sell them as pets, exotic pets, illegal wildlife pet trade on social media. If you don't believe, just use your Instagram account, your Facebook, TikTok, and search dusky langur or even dusky leaf monkey for sale or even cute dusky leaf monkey. I'm sure you'll see images or even footage like this. People dressing them up, people feeding them KFC. I have seen someone posted on Instagram that someone feeding dusky langur KFC. Yeah, so it's very cruel and very heartache to look at all this media posting because primates are not pets. And why people keep them as pets? Because people feel like I can keep sugar glider as pets, I can keep hamster as pets. Why not monkeys? Yeah, we need to understand that monkeys different. Monkeys, they live in the wild. All right, they live in the wild, like dusky leaf mango. They have special digestive system. They feed on leaves. They need special microbes. They have special microbes in their tummy to break down the food plants. If you feed them the wrong food, then the body is not going to work that well anymore. So eventually they'll get sick, they get ill, and eventually pass away. All right, yeah. So all this we need to think about. Yeah, so it's very important to spread the words. Okay, so now I'm gonna going into the third session of the sharing. Just now, first session is on my journey. Second is on the facts of Dusky Langurs. Now the third is on LangurProjectPenang. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna share with you guys what we have done in order to conserve this species in multiple creative ways. And then the second part of this third chapter, I'm gonna share a little bit about what you guys can do in order to be a part of Dusky. So there's a two-way conversation that you guys can just share your ideas with me. Yeah, in case you have more different ideas in order to enhance the conservation of the Dusky Langurs. So LangurProjectPenang is not an NGO. We are not registered as an organization or NGO yet. We're actually a working group. A working group consists of different volunteers. They are all from different background. Like for me, I'm a PhD student. Yes, like we have a Hui Yi in this group. I'm sure Hui Yi, she's chatting with you guys right now. Yeah, she's a student from UMS. Yeah, and also we have other volunteers. Yeah, some of them, they are doing different courses, and some of them, they are graphic designer, engineers, etc. We are just a group of people that like monkeys. Yeah, if want to make you guys easy to understand. But most important, we are a group of people that want to do something for our urban wildlife, for our wildlife residents. And currently, we are operating under the umbrella of a registered NGO in Malaysia, the Malaysian Primatological Society. And we are also supported by Perhilitan and other organizations as well. So we are a research and conservation group based in Penang, Malaysia, but we are expanding our research and conservation effort nationally and also internationally. Okay, so our pillars, we have 4 important pillars. First would be field research, and then second would be environmental education. Third would be community outreach, and fourth would be collaboration with different stakeholders. And for our research, focusing on the ecology, behavior, and road ecology of Dusky Langurs. So far, we have sufficient student, just enough to cover the ecology, behavior, and the road ecology of this species. Now we're still looking for more students to get involved in order to get to know, like for example, how many Dusky Langurs we have in Peninsular Malaysia. This question is still a question mark. No one will know, because I'm sure you guys know how intensive this research will be. It's so many people and so many funding in order to support to get the population estimation of this species, and even the seed dispersal role, or even the gastrointestinal parasite, like a study of this species. So there's so many things to be done. We just need more passionate individuals to join us. And so far, our research is mainly supported by Rafford Foundation UK, as well as a Disney Conservation Fund. And the third important part of LangurProjectPenang work is the Canopy Bridge project. So last year, 28th of February 2019, we installed the first urban canopy bridge in Malaysia as well. Yeah, so since the beginning of my research, I've been following the Langurs together with my team. Then we realized that the Langurs spend a lot of time by the road and they cross roads. So what we can do to help them to cross roads safely in order to mitigate the impact of habitat fragmentation and roads. So we went through a little bit of hustle, 10 months of permit approval from JKR Pulau Pinang, as well as a lot of collaborative effort to get the data to present to the authority. And then we managed to install the urban canopy bridge last year, and we reinforced the bridge again this year, this year August, in order to assist the animals to cross roads safely. All right. We also run outreach and educational program. I'm very passionate in science communication. So before COVID happens, we do a lot of a rainforest program. We bring kids, we bring adults to the nearby forest, recreational forest, and talk to them about the friends of Langurs, the food of Langurs, as well as the home of Langurs, because we need to interpret, we need to use our scientific research data in order to dissect it into public engagement information. It can be social media information like what we are doing now during the pandemic, or even better, hands-on experience through the 5 senses of the public in the forest for them to experience what is Asam Galugo, what is redbud tree, what is jeering. Through holding all these food plants in the forest, they're able to appreciate the habitat a little bit more. And from this is how we get hope from the parents to the kids, is how we start planting the seeds. All right. So when pandemic happens, during the COVID era, we still running some environmental education, but however, still very, very small groups. And also there are still many people that are afraid to take part on this kind of activities. So we are still working towards it and try to develop online experiences for the people out there so that they don't have to step out from their house and they're able to understand what they are doing through their laptop or even phone screen. All right. We also are very lucky to have media to help us to voice out because we try to target to as many niches of people as possible. Because when you talk about science, right, normally when you write papers, other researcher will be citing your papers. Yes. Like what would you do if you're trying to reach out your words to as many people as possible? Like those programs, right? Those programs that I showed to you guys, are only able to attract people who are interested in forests, interested in animals. They would come. But how about those people who like to play computer games at home? How about those people who like to just draw at home? How about those people who just like to do other things instead of outdoor activities? So it's really important to use creative methods. This is how I always encourage young people to step out to help your local conservation group. Try to use your creativity. You can be a game developer. You can be a writer. You can be a comic artists, etc. Like this case over here, we have the assistant from journalists to help us to come up with the different content in order to attract the public attention of different background or walks of life. And we're also very lucky and thankful for opportunity. This year, May 2020, we will feature on BBC Primates, BBC Earth, and this able to kind of like promote our work, to the international audience. And hopefully this can be shown in Malaysia soon, and hopefully that you guys got the chance to watch it. All right, so the first part of the third chapter is done, is what we have done to help the Dusky Langurs. Hope you guys are still awake right now. Can I see some messages in the chat group that is you guys still awake? If you guys still awake, please type yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. All right, so you also can be a citizen scientist. Now I'm going to show you some of the citizen scientist project that we created during COVID-19 since March 2020, which we utilize stay-at-home time to get data from the public. Yeah, hopefully this can give you guys some ideas in developing your own project, maybe your FYP project, etc. if you guys still can't do field work. All right, so first of all is the road ecology one. So road ecology basically means the study of wildlife movement, behavior in habitat fragmented areas such as roads. All right, okay, so for this road ecology project, we kind of like promote out through social media or even through words of mouth and let people know that every time you see a roadkill or even a road crossing activity by wild animals, it doesn't have to be Dusky Langurs. It can be monitor lizard, can be squirrel, can be snakes, can be bats. If you see any roadkill or even any road crossing activities, report to LangurProjectPenang. Yeah, and all this data will be compiled not only for our research, but also for Perhilitan, the wildlife department as well. We must understand, we must always collaborate with authority. Wildlife department, they have this manpower. Like for us, we have this manpower. Together, we can do so much more by grabbing attention of the public, and we can form a community science team. This is how we gather data, not only for our research and conservation purpose, but also for the authority to carry out the next step. All right. Okay, another one trying to share content again. Let me decline it. Okay, all right. So the second one is the slowdown for wildlife. So we are circulating these two posters soon. So you guys are the first batch of people to actually see these two posters. It's done by Hui Yi. Hui Yi, she's currently in the chat group. So we try to get this poster out in different communities. Like in Penang, right, you have a different district, right? In a different district, different provinces, different towns, the different condominiums have different community groups. So we are sharing all this information to all these communities, trying to get them sent to the auntie, uncles group or even student groups in their cell phone. Then they're able to spread it, so they know that when they're driving, they need to slow down. So instead of setting up signage, because everyone knows sometimes with signage, the driver still will speed. So why not utilize social media, utilize technology to get all this information spread through our WhatsApp and WeChat. All right, okay, go to the next slide again. All right, So another citizen science project that we have developed since April, this is in collaboration with Dr. Cedric Tan from Oxford Brookes University. So basically our vision from this particular citizen science project is to develop an app in the near future so that that particular app can be the main app for citizens in Malaysia or even in Southeast Asia to report any urban wildlife sightings. Because I know that now we have the iNaturalist, right? The iNaturalist app, but sometimes the iNaturalist app is containing too many information. Yeah, so if we can develop an app with an incentive, like for example, Pokemon Go, but instead of people reporting fake news, we have certain like a clarification application in that software, and then people are able to report right information at the same time get some incentive, like for example shopping voucher or even food vouchers, etc. Yeah, this is something that we are looking at, but first of all we would like to compile like early data, preliminary data from the public of before COVID, during COVID and post COVID, so that we can get an idea about the distribution of urban wildlife, yeah, by the impact of human disturbance. All right. And this poster on the right is the poster that we're circulating to the community group regarding what should you do when you see dusky langurs around your neighborhood. Because there are many people that freak out when they see monkeys in their neighborhood, climbing on their rooftop, etc. They will be like, oh, shall I call wildlife department? Actually, there's no need to be alarmed, no need to call Pahilitan, no need to call Bomba. Sometimes the animals just want to cross your rooftop, get to the other side due to the impact of fragmentation. There's nothing to be worried about. So here, there's some information that we're trying to educate the public regarding the importance of coexisting with dusky langurs and what you can do to avoid the dusky langurs from coming into your house. And these are some messages that we receive from the public, sometimes through WhatsApp, sometimes through Facebook Messenger, sometimes we get it in Instagram. And all this data, we will compile it and we will keep it in the database and we share with the authority so that we can know that the distribution of the urban wildlife, at the same time be able to map out the route of the urban wildlife, especially the dusky langurs. Okay, next one. All right, so this is something that you can do basically immediately. So after this sharing session, if you're getting a little bit tired, you have no assignment, and you just lay on the bed and then you just scroll Instagram. When you see a celebrity or even someone, right, keeping wildlife as pets, it doesn't have to be just dusky langur, it can be different kinds of wildlife. Don't just ignore it. You can just screenshot it and then send it to My Cat Wildlife Crime Hotline or even report it to Pahilitan. Yeah, and you can even report it on the social media platform at the same time so that they can at least get acknowledged that there's more people reporting on wildlife crime already. All right. Respect nature. Keep a distance. Keep food to yourself. Keep garbage in bins. Yeah, these three very simple moves, but not many people can do that. I'm sure that you guys see face masks, disposable face masks everywhere, or even when you're hiking, you see the hashing tags, those papers that people clip on the leaves. All these are the ways that people create to pollute our environment. At the same time, also create opportunity for the monkeys to disperse more trash. So let's start by respecting nature, by practicing these three simple acts. Safe distance, keep food to yourself, and keep your garbage in bin. All right. This was our recent social media publication. So Jin Wen, Dusky Jin Wen, she created this very cute 9-grid Instagram post. As you can see, it's like basically 9 different grids. Yeah, so this is to educate the public on what do you do when you encounter monkeys during hikings or even during nature walks. So these are some of the points that we managed to raise out. You'll be surprised, even though all these to you guys are common sense. You may feel like, oh, all these are common sense, I don't do that. But to the people out there, people are still doing this. People are still doing all this negative behavior that may harm the wildlife and also harm the other hikers as well. So it's really important to set the words out there and then to keep remind each other regarding respect nature, respect monkeys, and hashtag leave no trace. Okay, so 2 more slides before we end our session before Q&A. So if you'd like to get involved in Langur Project Penang, you can always go to our website and there's a Get Involved tab over there, and you can download the form it's an application form to apply as our interns, and you can just fill up the form if you're interested to spend like at least 3 months with us. Even though right now during COVID-19 you can't really come during fieldwork, yeah, but there are so many things that we can do together. Like now most of our interns and students, we are working at home beside attending classes, but also we try to develop more social media contents for the public, at the same time planning for the next move for science communication, and also apply more grants as well. All right, please check us out on our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LangurProjectPenang, and also our email is info@langurprojectpenang.com. So before we end this session, okay, this is a meme from Language Project Penang. I'm sure all you guys can relate. So remember to finish your assignment. If your assignment is due tonight, then all the best. And most important, to stay healthy and stay safe. And remember to do your part in voicing out for the urban wildlife resident, because as a zoology student, our wildlife needs you for the future. All right, thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Miss Jo Leen, for the really, really inspiring speech. I really learned a lot of things about the ethology of the Dusky Langurs today, and I'm sure everyone here has something to take home with them today. So let's move on to the Q&A session now. Should you like to ask a question, kindly enable your videos and audios. If that is not possible, you can also type in the chat box if you have any questions. But if you can, please interact with our speaker. We will take your questions now.
Any question? Oh, you guys are too shy to ask. Yeah, you guys can ask something like maybe from personal point of view. It's not necessary have to be very science, you know. You can just ask a little bit about your thoughts, or even you have some questions you'd like to ask me about your future plans or etc. etc. Okay, so I see a question. Sorry? Okay, all right. Jessie, I see a question there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joey, would you like to unmute and ask?
I'm shy.
Don't be shy, Joey.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I can see your question. So Joey, you're asking that why are we suggested not to smile or make eye contact with monkeys, right? Yeah. So Hui Yi, if you can copy the link from our previous post and paste it here, will be good. But now I'm going to emphasize it again. So basically, right, when we smile among humans, smile means like a warm welcome or even a warm greetings, right? Like smile to you, you feel happy, you feel calm, etc. But in animal kingdom, it's not the case. Like for example, in long-tailed macaques, when long-tailed macaques smile to each other with teeth on, it's actually show that you're being submissive. Yeah, means like for me, I'm afraid of you. That's why I show you my teeth so that you can give me a way out. You know what I mean? Yeah, so when you're walking in the park and you see a long-tailed macaque and you smile towards a long-tailed macaque, you're actually indicating to the macaques that you are afraid of that macaque. So the macaque will take advantage. If the macaque is being fed, the macaque will take advantage to grab your food or even grab your cap or even your sunglasses, because he can feel your fear, even though you're not meant to be fearing of the monkeys, but your body language shows to the monkeys that you're being submissive. So we can't smile to the monkeys. Why no eye contact? So sometimes when you walk past a macaque, when you do your eyes to the macaques like this, right? You twitch your eyebrow, right? The macaques will just twitch your eyebrows at you. Yeah, because to them, looking at them eyes to eyes, twitching eyebrow is actually to shows that you want to be a dominant individual in the troop. You try to challenge the individual. All right. Even though you look at a young macaque, the young macaque will just sometimes go away, and then the big macaque will come, and then it will look at you at the same time. So smiling at them basically means you're being submissive, and looking at them basically means you're challenging their troop. All right. Yeah. So what we think is right, it doesn't mean the right behavior among monkeys. So it's very important for us to get to know them, understand them before we start to judge them. All right, Joey, is this answering your question? Good,
Yes,
yeah?
but I want to know is this applicable to orang utan also? Because I have seen like a lot of videos showing orang utan smiling at human or like
Yeah, for orang utan, it's always very important to keep a safe distance. Like for example, if you talk about like a Sepilo or orangutan center, or even the Semengo Orangutan Center, sometimes the orangutan will come out to just walk, right? Yeah, orangutan are very, very strong, so it's very important for us to always keep a safe distance. Like when you smile at orangutan, if the orangutan is in a good mood, right? If it's in a good mood, it's not hungry, it's not being agitated, then it's fine. Because the orangutan knows that how strong they are, how powerful they are. Yeah. And the macaques, you try to imagine, the macaques are very short and very tall, right? Yeah, of course, sometimes this kind of behavior will trigger them. But for orangutan, they are more intelligent, they are more calm. Yeah, so it depends on their mood, it depends on the certain situation, whether there's any environmental stress. Yeah, but it's always good to keep a distance. If you really want to smile towards the macaques, you can do that. You can smile towards the macaque, you smile towards the orangutan, but always keep a safe distance. In case anything happen, you have a place to go away, Yeah, just in case. Because sometimes wildlife can be very, very unpredictable. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Joey.
Miss Jo Leen.
Okay, so Jessie, I'm just gonna go through the question, huh? All right. Okay, so Lee Hauser asking, when we do research, wait, let me see this one first. Yeah, when we do research, takut ke kena kerja baik ke? Haha. Actually, when we do our research, right, we follow the Dusky Langurs from a safe distance. For us, we always follow at least 10 meters in distance. But sometimes, sorry, firecracker, just for a while. Happy festive holiday, everyone. Yeah. So when we do research, we always keep a safe distance from the langurs, like at least 8 to 10 meters. But sometimes when they are like very habituated to us, they will come closer like 5 meters, but we always move away when they're getting close. So far we never get chased by the langurs before, because we never trigger them. We never look them into the eyes. We never smile at them. We just like, look other places, just act natural. So we never get chased by the langurs before. All right. Okay. How not to be scared being around them? Komutini, yeah? Okay, basically, if you look at yourself, right? Like for us, we are quite tall, and the Dusky Langurs or even the macaques, they're quite small, even though they're considered as middle-sized monkeys, but there's still nothing to be afraid of, unless you're fearful of animals since birth, then it's a different thing. But I would think that if you decided to study wildlife as your postgrad, or even you like to observe wildlife, it's really important for us to stay calm most of the time. When you're surrounded by any kind of wildlife, most important is to stay calm, respect them, and there's nothing to be worried about. I'm sure that they are afraid of you more than you're afraid of them. Okay, Yu Chi asked a very good question. What is the biggest challenge for the past years for LPP? Very good challenge. Very good questions. So the biggest challenge I would summarize into two parts. First would be manpower. It's really hard to get the right students to take up a research project. Like for LPP, right, we started in January 2016, even though I started my research in late 2015. So since late 2015, we had only one PhD student, which is myself, and one master student. Now she's working in Australia because she's an Australian, and also multiple final year project students from USM and from UPM and from UMS as well, even from UM. So it's really hard to get a very, very good student to come in and stay passionate regarding a certain topic of project, because for master student, you need to sampling, means be in the field for at least 9 months to 12 months. So when you work in the field, there are lots of challenges, even though in Penang, like if you do your study site in Penang, people always think that Penang forest is very comfortable. It's not as exotic. It's not as challenging compared to the virgin forest. Yes, it's true. But the long hours of observing monkeys, like for us, when a student take up a project, sometimes they need to be in the field, follow the Dusky Langurs for 12 hours. And this is all about endurance. The endurance you need to take up a research focusing on behavior. So lack of manpower, not only students, but also get the citizen to get involved, to stay passionate and stay committed for a long period of time. Some people join you for 2 months, then say, oh, I don't want already, because they experience, they feel that it's bored, it's not for them. So first thing is always people. Second would be funding and permits. Yeah, like for us, we are supported by multiple field grants, but grants will finish eventually. So it's very important to ask yourself, like, for new and young conservationists, for you guys, right? Especially you guys, how would you make conservation your career? Because like many people always feel that, oh, conservation can't earn money when. People always see that conservation can't earn money, or even conservation is only for rich people to study. Like for you guys, right, when people know that you study zoology, and then your parents will start talking about why you study zoology, and then when Chinese New Year or even Raya or even Deepavali that time, your relative will ask exactly the same thing. So it's very hard to explain to them why you study wildlife, why you study zoology. So this I experienced all of it. I still experiencing to today, especially I'm not young anymore and I'm still doing a PhD. So how to make sure that your PhD, your master is actually your career setup point? Yeah, this is very important for you to ask yourself. So instead of trying to be a traditional NGO, like everyone know that NGO is depending on public funding and even grants, right? You can't really earn any money to support the manpower in the NGO. So the planning for LPP in order to overcome this challenge is instead of relying on grants, like for me, I still apply for grants, but I really would like to aim towards social enterprise. I'm sure you guys are familiar with social enterprise. There are many social enterprise out there, like for example, BG Initiative, APE Malaysia, Aid Malaysia, or even a Fuse Ecotiers. All these are social enterprise that contributing to conservation. Through aiming towards different types of structure in running the project, you're able to not only getting money for your research which contribute to conservation, but also put food on your plate. So I feel that this is really important. So like the slides that I shared to you guys that we run environmental education, we collect fees from the public. So the people pay a fee, like for example, 35 ringgit to join our 4 hours program. Okay, and then we have like a 40 people. All right, okay. And then the money is not just go towards LPP. We have like 40% of the profit goes to LPP, and then the rest is divided among the assistants, and the works that divided amongst the guide and the assistant. So I feel that this is very important. People always see conservation as a charity work. You need to do everything for free, free, free. Then what do you eat? Yeah, I'm sure that you guys know Dr. Pelf, right, from Turtle Conservation Society. She told me one thing which is so important is when there's something happen when you're in the plane, and then you always put the oxygen mask on yourself first before putting on others. Yeah, so always take care of yourself first before you take care of others so that you're able to sustain your project at the same time, getting food on your table and do meaningful things such as wildlife conservation. All right, hope this answer your question, Yuqi. Okay, we have another question from Nor Ainina. The previous slide it shows that the monkey in orange color, but the parents are in black color. So does it mean that baby monkey grow where their body color will change? Yes, you're right, but they don't change like Sailor Moon change. Huh? So basically they shed their fur and then they grow back the new fur. Like for the dusky leaf monkeys, right? The Dusky Langurs, the baby, when they are born, they are bright orange in color. And then by the third week old, listen, third week old, the orange fur will start to shed already. Like they will start shedding on the forehead and also around the abdomen, the tummy area. And then that time around 3 weeks old to a month old, you can see the forehead is actually botak. Yeah, this is how we predict the age. Yeah, we can tell it's less than 1 month old or even 2 months old. And after 1 month old or even 1.5 months, you can see the dark fur, the gray fur, start growing around the forehead already. And eventually, here will shed slowly throughout the body and the gray fur will grow. So by 5th month, the baby will no longer be orange baby, but looks more like a very round, fluffy, grayish, black Dusky Langur. And then after 6 months, the secondary fur, the white fur, the whitish fur will grow. Yeah, so this is the morphology changes of the Dusky Langurs from infant to become a juveniles. Okay? All right. Can't we be their friends? Yeah, you can be their friends still by respecting their boundary. It doesn't mean that you have to keep them as pets or even touch them to feed them to be their friends. Yeah. All right. Can I know how I join in voluntary program? Yeah, you can assist us in many, many ways. Of course, our primary voluntary task is to conduct fieldwork. But now things are different. Like since CMCO, few days ago, and then we stopped all the fieldwork due to travel restriction. And so right now, most of our volunteers are working at home, like trying to develop all the social media contents or even writing articles for our website, etc. Things are tough, but I'm sure that eventually we'll come back to field. So if you're interested in joining our voluntary program, just go to our website and go to the Get Involved tab and download the application form and fill in your details and send it to us. And we will go through the next step, like for example, talk about the ability, etc. Okay. Okay, someone mic is not mute. Okay, so there's one question. Is there any requirement to join the program? Nope. Most important is you're passionate and you're dedicated and anyone can join the program because I always believe that anyone can be a citizen scientist. It's just the matter of how you contribute. Like for example, for our Canopy Bridge, we recently have had an engineer. His name is Vicky. So he's an engineer, right? And so he utilized his skill to develop a solar panel battery box for us. Because for me, I need to climb up to the pole to change the memory card and also the batteries every month. Yeah, so Vicky, he's an engineer, and then he joined in and then he used his skill and then he developed the battery box. So now the camera trap actually able to charge itself. Yeah, so there are many ways that you can help. Wildlife is just a matter of your interest and also what you can do to help them. Okay, let me see. Questions. If you guys are trailing after a social group, how do you distinguish the langurs from each other? Yes, very, very good question. And this is actually the next infographic content on our social media. So for the dusky langurs, they have white patch eyes, right? And their lips are also white in color. So the white part is actually their skin, you know. So when we handle roadkill langur or even injured langur, right, when we try to sweep off their fur, you can see that their skin, their bare skin is actually white in color. Yeah, pale white in color. So around the lips and even the eye patch area, there are different markings. Like for example, some dusky langurs, their spectacles are slightly squarish, and some are more rectangularish, and some has stripes, some have dots. So through all these different characteristics, we're able to tell individuals apart. So you can imagine the early preparation work is very crucial. Like for example, once we identify the groups that we want to follow, we need to get as many photos as we can and then trying to identify and match individuals' photo on our laptop. This is how we recognize the individual. Okay. Next question. Duskies are mostly arboreal and live between trees really fast, right? How do you keep up with them? Do you always lose them in the forest? Yes, we do, until today as well. So in the beginning of the following, we managed to follow them like 45 minutes. Means you wake up like 4 a.m. in the morning, and then when I go to certain study site by sunrise, right, and then after I found them and then I follow them for 45 minutes and then I lost them already. Yeah, this happens. Yeah, so it's very important for us to keep following them until they accept our existence, and then they will stop running away. Then they will be just like, okay, just stay on the tree, just eat lah, don't care about you already. Yeah, so this is how we habituate the langurs and be able to follow them for long hours, up to 12 hours a day. Okay, next question, Sarah. In my area, there's a lot of stray monkeys that I believe have lost their habitat and mainly depend on humans to feed them. By following all the rules you mentioned earlier, is it okay to still feed them with clean food as fruit and vegetables? I won't recommend it because if you feed them, they will still see you as the main food provider. They need to forage. So the normal activity of a macaque, or even the normal activity of a dusky langur, once they wake up, their life throughout the day, their activity budget is mainly to feed, to forage, to rest, to activity. So if you start feeding them and they will start seeing you as a main food provider, they wouldn't able to expand their home range or even move around the route in order to search for more variety of fruits. Like for you, unless you're a macaque researcher, you know the 50 species of plants or even the insects that the macaque feed at, then you're able to harvest all, like one day you feed them 10 types of plants. But you can't do that, right? Unless you're a macaque researcher. So imagine if you keep feeding brinjal every single day, then what will happen? Malnutrition among the monkeys still happen. So it's very important to not feed them. I believe that themselves. Second, how do we help them? If you really want to help them, start planting monkey fruit trees around your house. Plants. And don't complain when monkey come to your place to eat your fruits. Start giving them space. Coexist. If this is something that you think that you can endure, to let the monkeys who come to your neighborhood feed on your mangoes or even feed on your ulam, and then you just don't complain, don't anything, you're okay with that, then this is also a good way to help them. But it's always good to set boundary by no feeding them, don't touch them, let them to find their own food. But most importantly, as future conservationists like yourself, you all have the strength and have the rights, have the voice to help stop non-sustainable development in the future, like around your neighborhood, to ensure that the habitat of the monkeys, the wildlife are still intact. All right. Next question by Farhan.
Hi, Miss Jo Leen.
Yes.
Sorry for interrupting. Due to time constraints, we'll have to
Okay.
cut the Q&A session short.
Sure.
So we'll do one last question and compile the
you
rest sent
pick
to you,
then.
and then Yeah, we'll compile the rest, send to you, then we will share it on our Insta story, or they can also reach out to you via email, right?
You can just email us at info@LangurProjectPenang, or even find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just send us your question and we'll try to answer all your doubts.
Okay, that's very good. Okay, so one last question.
You
Actually,
pick
our
then.
club advisor has a question. So, Dr. Rinalfi said, "Hi, Jolene. Awesome work by LPP. It's always exciting to see conservation work set up." So he has a small question. In seed dispersal study, did you do comparison on gut pass seed versus unfinished seeds? Would be interesting to see the effects of gut passage on seeds.
Yes, yeah, we plan to do that as well to compare. So basically for the gut pass seed, right, we also not only looking at just simply gut pass seed, so we'll see the different ways the langurs carry the seeds, whether they carry the seeds for a while in their mouth, or whether they will keep like take a few mouth and then intact for a while and then move for a while and then feed again. So there are different way of the langurs handling the seed, just like the macaques. So we're going to look at it as well. And for the unfinished seeds, like for example, some fruits that they feed on and then they drop down on the ground, for that we will also collect and see whether is it possible to grow. But this is also very tedious because one of our lab mates, right, he's doing the seed dispersal study on the pigtail macaques. He also having troubles, especially in trying to regrow the unfinished seeds or even the gut part seeds. Yeah, and so far we're doing it on like a out of curiosity, like once we see the gut part seeds and then we take it back and then we plant it. And then so far I would say that I have personally planted like a 20 different types of gut plus seeds, yeah, on the different food plants, and the success rate is not that significant yet. So it's really good to see the comparison, especially on the both, yeah, that the doctor just proposed. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much,
All right.
Ms. Jolene, for the insightful Q&A session. So before we head into the group photo session, feel free to post any thoughts on today's webinar on Insta Story and tag us at Zoological Club UPM and also at LangurProjectPenang. I'll also put this in the chat. Okay, so before our photo session, a gentle reminder to the UPM students to stay back after this, as the merit information will be provided at the end of the session. Okay, everyone, turn on your cameras. We're gonna take a photo session now. So keep smiling for about 15 seconds and our photographers will screenshot. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you everybody for smiling for a silent 10 seconds. So I'd like to thank our speakers, our speaker and participants once again for attending today's event. Before we officially call it a day, I would like to kindly remind the students that we will be having the next webinar this coming Saturday on the 14th with Miss Natasha from Nottingham University on wildlife conservation. There will also be an online game session tomorrow at 8 p.m. via Zoom, and the link will be provided before the session starts. Thank you again, Ms. Jolene. It was a really, really great sharing. So thank you all for attending today's webinar session and at Zoological Week 2020. See you again tomorrow. Have a good day and take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
UPM students don't leave first. UPM students don't leave first. Thank you, Ms. Jolene. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Bye.